Hello, friends. Welcome to the Creativity Cure. I hope you are all doing well and feeling well. So, today our entry is going to be mostly written, and I'm going to be using these pretty cool, I call them markers, but I think they're technically highlighters. Well, they are highlighters, but they write, they have a nice soft kind of writing to them. And just a basic black pen, and I've also provided, if you guys want a printable journal page that you can use. um, it's basically, it's called I Am, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of writing how we are, or actually I should say rather how um, we kind of want to be. So I'm giving you, there's going to be two sides to the page, and one is going to be all about our negative feelings, and the other side is going to be how we can change that into the opposite, kind of like an antonym, like a thesaurus, but without the synonym part, the antonym part. I'm talking about the opposite. So we're going to change the negative feeling, because I don't like to have a journal full of negative things. I just don't, because I kind of believe in the whole thing where you kind of are always, if you're saying I don't, I can't, I shouldn't. Um, and by the way, always date your journals. I always make this mistake, and I look back at old, whether they're more like artistic or more stuff that I've written, and I'm like, when did I draw this or write this? Or so always date your journals. So I put a little spot on the top if you want to use the printout for that. Um, yeah, so I don't like to. So I always want to write things, like I want to write how I'm feeling. Like today, I am not, like, things just hurt. Like if you're going through, um, a lot of this YouTube channel, well, most of the YouTube channel is devoted to people that are going through some kind of chronic challenges or issues. And in my pursuit of avoiding negativity, I don't like to say chronic illnesses, because that just kind of reinforces that it's like an illness. So we kind of want to get away from that. But I also, at the same time, I kind of just want to write like I'm feeling crappy or I'm feeling exhausted. Um, and I found this way that works for me, that where you can kind of write all about that stuff, but also at the same time not dwell on it and not have it kind of stuck there or written down forever and ever and ever. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we go on. So for now, just grab yourself any kind of instrument you want to. You'll see what we're using the marker slash highlighters for. They're called Mildliners, and you can get them anywhere. I'll put a link below. And they have like a nice, if you think of them as highlighters, they're really expensive highlighters, but if you think of them as really just cool kind of markers that you can write with and draw with, they're pretty awesome, because they don't, especially if you do a lot of planning, they're nice to use in planners, because they don't like have like a really dark line. They kind of make like a mild line, which is why they're a mild liner. So anyway, so I just wrote down 5 things that I'm feeling today, and now I'm going to use my trusty handy dandy thesaurus that's in my brain to look up or think of the opposite of what I've written. And I've basically just written a word and written a description of it, a description of what I mean, what I'm feeling. So on this other side, under the positive emotion side, see, for example, for if I'm just feeling so like I'm in a lot of pain today, the opposite is comfortable, feeling comfortable. The other one is fatigue, and underneath I wrote down I'm experiencing a lot. I'm exhausted, blah 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 blah, and then on the opposite side I wrote energized. So it's kind of like you want to write I am blank. I don't know what what the is it the is it the I am, it's the adjective. So you kind of write down an adjective, but just think of it in terms of I am. So I wrote, well, not originally, but I wrote down strength. But I am strength doesn't really fit. So I am energized. I am encouraged. I am triumphant. I am pleased. Instead of annoyed, I am pleased. Right. So take as much time as you want. I mean, this is all condensed into a short, 15-minute kind of session, but take as much time, write as much. If you need multiple pages, fill out as many pages as you want. And if you're new to journaling or creative journaling or just writing in your journal, it really, really helps in a way that I don't know how to describe how it helps. The only way I know how to describe how it helps is because it becomes, your emotions or your feelings become tangible. They're there. They're something physical now instead of just floating in your head. So now comes the part where we take our mild liners and we're going to be crossing out. Now you're still going to be able to see the old negative feeling, but we're going to highlight the positive emotion. So what's going to stand out is the positive emotion because we're going to be crossing out. And I didn't want to use regular markers because if you cross it out with a regular marker, you can't really see what the old negative feeling was. And I wanted that to come through as well. I just didn't want that to be a focus. I want the focus to be on the positive emotion. So these mild liners are perfect for this because you can see through them. They come in like all kinds of colors. And as you can see as I go along here, you can see how even though I'm crossing them out, you can still see through. And then I'm kind of reinforcing the positive emotion with like dots, dashes, stars. Feel free to just do whatever you want. I wanted this to be a little bit like a vision board, but a vision journal or a vision journal entry. Or if we do more pages like this, then maybe a whole vision journal. But for now, it's at least one page, so a vision journal entry. And if you want to use this if you want to use the printout that I'm providing, what I did was I like the size of Moleskine journals, specifically the hardcover Moleskine art journals. I just really think it's a perfect size. So even though when this prints out, it'll print on a regular piece of paper, you can cut it down and it'll fit perfectly into a Moleskine journal if you want to just add it right into your journal page. And I just use a page punch rounder, and I rounded the corners off just like you would find in a Moleskine journal. It's only like a fraction of it, like an inch, not even smaller, but just the ratio, I just think it's really visually appealing. So that's why the page, if you're looking at it, you're like, why does the page folded? And why it looks, it is I cut it down with my paper cutter. So anyway, right now I am just going over, and I'm really focusing and reinforcing the positive emotions. And I'm also making sure that it's something that I can say, I am. So if you were to read all these with I am, they would all work. For the first one, for the negative feeling, you don't have to put it in that context. My first negative one was I'm just like in a lot of like that fibromyalgia pain. If you guys have any kind of fibromyalgia flare-ups, or if you're going through that, you know what I'm talking about, where your whole body just kind of hurts. And I guess that applies with a lot of autoimmune diseases and I don't know if I really should know this, but Lyme disease is considered no, it's not considered an autoimmune disease. But if you have, I know people with Lyme disease and the whole body aches and pains are just sometimes like you just want to just, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. Anyway, so we've shifted the focus of that. Oh my God, this is so crazy, and we're moving the focus to the positive side. And I of course wanted to add a little bit of creativity. So I found these really cool stamps from at Michaels, and I'm pretty sure you can buy them online as well as in store. They're the type of stamps that are kind of seasonal, and they don't, sometimes they have merchandise where they only carry at certain times of year, or it's their own brand. But I'll find it and I will link it because I think they're pretty cool stamps. And if I don't find it, just take a trip to your local Michaels if you can and check them out. It is a Michaels brand, so I don't think other stores would have them. And these, I really like these. I just think they're kind of cool, and I think the theme is like astrological or mystical or something like that. But what I did is I took and I made my own little blend with these inks. These inks I like and I have because they are alcohol marker, Copic marker friendly, and they're Memento inks. And I kind of just blended them all together, and I tested them out beforehand, and they won't smudge when you use the multi-liners or the midline. I don't know why I will always call these multi-liners, because obviously multi-liners. If you're familiar with artistic black pens, the multi-liners. The mild liners, they won't bleed with the mild liners, which really won't matter with this stamp set too much and with this whole journal entry, because it's just kind of for fun and to kind of take your mind off of things. To take your mind off of the things on the left-hand side of the page, if you know what I'm saying, if you're following along. And I'm just coloring it in. I'm trying to match the colors because I really like. Another thing I like about these mild liners is that and I always keep them in order because I like the color progression, the rainbow progression. It's a standard rainbow progression, but I guess it's the pastelness of the colors that just look really cool. Instead of bright red, bright orange, bright yellow, bright, you know what I mean? Or I should say intense, or I should say saturated. They're just like a nice hue. I don't know, yeah. So I'm keeping that kind of color thing going. See the purples and the greens and the pinks, and I'm matching the colors. But feel free to do whatever you want, whatever makes you feel happy, right? Because that's really all that's important at the end of the day. So I'm continuing with the Memento stamps, and I did use some Copic markers to color these in because I just can't help myself. I'm addicted to them. There's something about Copic markers that are addictive. It seems like the higher the price something is, the more I want it. And it's absurd. Why can't I have this addiction for Crayola? Oh my God, I need Crayola markers. By the way, I don't remember if I actually published the video or not, but I did do a video on the Crayola alcohol markers. And I'll save my comments. My comments are in the video, and I think they'll speak for themselves. My comments would fall on the left-hand side of the journal entry page. So let's put it that way about the Crayola blendable alcohol markers, or whatever they are, ethanol based. They're on the left-hand side of the page. They were a lot. I think they brought out all of the things on the left-hand side of the page for me. So yeah, the Copics are good. Or Spectrum Noir are actually really good. Those are what I started with. So I'm just using the mild liners to color this in with some fun colors. Here's where I use the Copics. I couldn't help myself. I really wanted some nice blending. And that's basically it. You could see how it came out. the color gradients. And I hope you guys enjoyed this entry. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you can look back on it and say, well, you know what we're going to do? I actually want to do a follow-up, like a part 2. I'm going to do a part 2 to this where we're going to use the right-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we're going to journal about how we can accomplish all the positive things we just wrote on the other page. So that is it for today. Please make sure you guys subscribe, thumbs up if you like the video. I will love you forever. And I'll talk to you all again soon. Stay well. I love you guys. Bye.